Now, police in Louisiana have what's called a Blue Lives Matter law. Now, Blue Lives Matter, I'm going to explain what that is here in a minute. But first, I have to note that Louisiana is actually the first state to enact such a law. So basically, it aims to, they say, to protect the conduct of police officers by charging people who resist arrest with a hate crime. A hate crime. So that's what this is. No, we're going to protect police officers by charging you with a hate crime. Great. Now look, I thought resisting arrest was already a crime. Yes, it is. But now in Louisiana, it is a hate crime. And basically what they're doing, and it's funny when you think about it, they're actually treating the police as if they're a racial and embattered minority. Like, oh my God, you've got to protect the police by making sure that you label any action against them a hate crime, which is already a crime. Now, these are the same people, by the way, who champion this stuff that say gay people should not have extra rights. Oh, they have rights, but they shouldn't have extra special rights. They shouldn't be protected. Trans people shouldn't be protected. In fact, we need to go after the trans people and make sure they don't go into the bathroom. But they're giving cops special rights. Okay. Now, there was a police chief, Calder Hebert, who defended this law after it started getting some media attention. And he said, quote, "We don't need the general public being murdered for no reason, and we don't need officers being murdered for no reason. We all just need to work together." Okay, look, so far, nothing wrong with that. I'm with you. Of course I don't want police murdered. Of course I don't want regular people murdered. I don't want anybody murdered. And look, I also don't want crime. Okay, I'm anti-crime. But still, okay. But here's where he loses me. He said resisting an officer or battery of a police officer was just that charge. Simply, but now, Governor Edwards in the legislation made it a hate crime now. And he's referencing Governor John Bel Edwards, who's a Democrat, recently got elected in Louisiana. Now, why a hate crime? Why call it a hate crime? I mean, that's excessive to me, especially since the police can say you're resisting arrest even if you're not resisting arrest. I mean, how many times have we seen videos of police encounters, dash cams, where the person is sitting there subdued and the cops just starts wailing on him and saying, "You're resisting arrest, you're resisting arrest, you're resisting arrest. Stop resisting." Dude, I'm not resisting. You're kicking my ass. What am I supposed to do? These people are literally handcuffed on the ground and maybe in great pain, and the officer, "Stop resisting, you're resisting arrest." Now that would be a hate crime. Now that would be a hate crime. Or maybe you're not even doing anything wrong and you look at a cop funny. You're being disrespectful to an officer. And then, oh look, resisting arrest. After I put my hands on you as a police officer. No, what this is that obviously this is a bad law. It's way too broad. Now, of course, the governor's spokesman said that language was inaccurate. This is according to Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards' communications director. However, unfortunately, we've already seen this provision be used to charge someone with a hate crime. So it's already been used. Whether or not he thinks the language wasn't right, it's already been used to that effect. Now, the law says that anybody who resists arrest or uses physical force against an officer can be charged with a hate crime, a felony, that is punishable with a fine of up to $5,000 or a 5-year prison sentence. While a hate crime tacked onto a misdemeanor is punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in jail. So, look, there are significant circumstances to this. Not good. According to KATC, who's a local station in Louisiana, if somebody was arrested for petty crime and minor offenses, resisting arrest, or being charged that you're resisting arrest, even if you might not be resisting, that could lead to some pretty serious crimes, some pretty serious fines, which, hey, it's going to go right into the justice system. So, now Hebert said we need the police and the public to work together. The policemen have a job. The public has the job of helping the police, and if someone happens to be involved in a criminal activity, let the courts handle it. Don't resist physically. Now, again, look, we have some police officers that end up using excessive force when arresting somebody. Now, if you're punching somebody in the face, for example, during a traffic stop, yeah, they're going to resist. Or make it seem like they're resisting, okay? And in that case, you don't have to be violent to be charged with resisting arrest at the same time. For example, a New Orleans man was the first person to be charged under this new law when it got enacted in September of last year. Now, what he had done is that he had allegedly shouted racial and sexist slurs at police. Now, again, I'm not going to defend this guy. I'm not going to advocate for that guy. What he did was stupid. What he did was not right. And I also say, don't punch a police officer. That's bad. Or hurl racial slurs at them. But still, to charge them with a serious hate crime for that goes way beyond effective policing. That's not effective at all. That essentially turns this into a little bit more than a police state, where even the act of disrespecting an officer can get you charged with a hate crime. And again, I keep saying this. It's too easy to be charged with resisting arrest. Reason actually points out in a great article, it's notoriously easy to be charged with resisting arrest, so much so that the police departments across the country often consider a large number of resisting arrest charges as a potential red flag for officer misconduct. So you've got, Johnny Policeman out there who's got a lot of charges of resisting arrest to the people that he goes out and he's supposed to serve. Well, they look at that and go, ooh, why do you have so many of those? Why are you in a more violent part of town? Is that what's going on here? Or what's going on? Why are you charging so many people with resisting arrest? That doesn't make any sense. Red flag. Red flag. Now, Reason cites a WNYC investigation that found that just 5% of NYPD officers accounted for 40% of the 51,503 resisting arrest charges filed between 2009 and 2014. Several of those officers, turns out, had a history of excessive force complaints and civil rights lawsuits being filed against them. Imagine that. You charge more people with resisting arrest, or actually kind of reverse that a little bit. If you're somebody who tends to violate people's civil rights and use excessive force, you're going to try to cover that with, no, I had to do it. I had to punch this guy in the face. He was resisting arrest. Look, most police officers, at least in my experience, they don't do stuff like this. They're actually good people. And they have a difficult job. And, they wouldn't take advantage of this. They wouldn't do stuff like this. They wouldn't say they were resisting arrest after beating somebody in the face. But some would. There are some people inevitably drawn to this power and would be more than happy to do this. I'm against those people. Those people make the rest of the cops look bad. And these people, with this, in conjunction with this new law, will lead to a massive injustice being put upon the citizenry that is supposed to be able to depend on the cops for actual protection. And that does not sit with me. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.